What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with macro data, don't have too much this week, of course, because of Christmas. The market is closed on the 25th, as well on the 24th. It does close early at 1 o'clock. So historically, we're going to see some lower volume on the 24th as well as the 26th. And Merry Christmas to those of you that do celebrate. But aside from that, Monday, not really much going on. So it is going to be hopefully a lot of that positive momentum from last week rolling over into this week. Tuesday, we do have pretty much the only big data point, and that is GDP. Current forecast for that is 3.2. And then aside from that, though, on Wednesday, we have initial jobs claims. But as I mentioned, the market does close a little bit earlier that day, so just keep that in mind. Aside from that, though, more specific to Lucid, there's no fireside chats or anything, although they are doing a couple things. So still doing, looks like the pop-up tour in Austin. These ones are new, so the holiday roadshow. And this, on a side note, this is the type of stuff that I feel like would justify a PR. So Lucid's been kind of hit and miss with their PRs, and there's been some things that have come out that kind of justify that. So I think generally they should kind of advertise this a little bit better. But nonetheless, so it looks like Holiday Roadshow, one in Arlington, the other one in good old Boston. Aside from that, though, a couple of things that did come out recently. So over the last couple of trading days, I kind of complained on the lack of Lucid really marketing and really doing much. So Nero posted this, so CES 2026. Just want to say that Lucid did repost this. So they finally woke up and they did something, although Uber actually retweeted this. So a little bit more engagement. Lucid just reposted, but still nonetheless, at least someone behind the scenes is managing their marketing. The only other thing I wanted to kind of share with you, though, is over the last couple trading days, and shout out to Let's Go Lucid on Twitter, but they did kind of bring up how recently Bank of America did give a downgrade. So in case you kind of missed it, they did give a downgrade from 30 down to 10. And I do believe their $30 price target was just because of the whole reverse stock split, because prior to that, they actually had a $3 price target. So logically, that's kind of makes sense a little bit. But nonetheless, they did get downgraded on December the 10th to $10. And it is rather comical because there was a 13G that did come out on November the 14th, which did signal that they have roughly around 17.1 million shares. And so that was obviously at that time. So yeah, it's kind of weird, right? This is why don't always trust analysts, even though they're extremely overpaid. They don't really know much better than you or I. So the fact that Bank of America bought a hell of a lot of stock at the same time, pretty much less than a month later, giving a downgrade doesn't logically make all that much sense, but let me know your general thoughts on that. And then kind of the only thing that has really come out recently that's worthwhile to kind of take notice of is good old Jim Cramer. He did say, sell, sell, sell Lucid. So for those of you that are familiar with Jim Cramer, he's very well known for his kind of crazy, kind of ambitious points, but it's very beneficial to do the inverse. So the fact that he's actually saying sell might be a good reason to potentially buy. Of course, you guys do your own due diligence and all the other fun jazz. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from that, going into this upcoming week, looking at shorts, actually this is Rivian, so I will pull up good old Lucid. So going into this upcoming week, 33.9% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 44.18 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts are still a pain in Lucid's kind of back, and has been for a very long time. So we might be seeing all-time high short interest numbers. So pretty much going into this upcoming week, we are at all-time high short interest numbers. But I guess what I mean is it might kind of extend that. So we'll have to wait and see how things do play out. On Friday, Lucid had a pretty good day, so it went up 3.23%, and a lot of that had to do with algorithmic trading, although Lucid went up 0.34% after hours on Friday, and that largely is because of these very abnormal transactions. So all of these were done after hours. All of them were buys. 13.8 million, 1.3, 1.2, 1.09. So big money for whatever reason. I couldn't really see about anything actually coming out to justify that, but big money was buying into Lucid. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below, and if you think that potentially is maybe a precursor for something to come this upcoming week. But looking at the options from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be kind of between that 12.50 and 13. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 11. So again, you kind of have that a little bit more of a back and forth. Aside from that though, with it at 11.82, it is smack dab in the middle between this S1 and this S2. So 11.86 is going to be that key point to really get over early on next week if you're going to see any sort of recovery. Flip side, 10.29 is going to be that next strong support. So that'd be kind of crazy if we do hit that. And over this past week, we did have that new low. And so for those of you that kind of tune into my weekend videos where I go over some expectations, I actually did signal that we were going to have some level of consolidation and most likely hit a new all-time low. And conveniently, that's exactly what did happen. This is why, even though I might not be the most pleasant individual because I don't always give rainbows and sunshine and all the amazing news, I still much rather what I do than kind of just a pumper, because like, yeah, if you just follow the data, don't get so emotionally involved, you can actually see where stocks usually go. So over the last 5 days, down 6.28%. So as far as some points, just watch for that 1028 or 1029, sorry, if you're wanting to dollar cost average or whatever else. But on the actual chart itself, so this is where things could get very real very fast, because as I pointed out back in September, we had a very nice push higher, and that's largely because of algorithmic trading. We did also have, not just with Lucid, but many other stocks kind of experience some abnormal after hours activity on Friday. So possibly there might be a rollover and a continued level of momentum. So if it's able to get above this 10-day moving average, which right now it is sitting at 12.12, then you could see things get very interesting. So another potential breakout, and both of these opportunities, so end of November and beginning of December, like both of them had some pretty good runs, largely just getting pushed through algorithmic trading. But then you just had some negative event that kind of caused the market to push lower, and conveniently both of those were being done on Friday. So in general, just watch for that 10-day moving average. And again, if it does and is able to get above that, then that might be a potential good swing trade opportunity for those of you that kind of care about that. But aside from that, you can kind of see from the flow right here, algorithmic trading has and most likely will be a very big deal for Lucid. So all in all, I do feel that this upcoming week, you're going to see a lot of volatility. But at the same time, most likely you're going to see some fairly low volume. So don't anticipate any crazy swings. So no 20-30% green for this week. But realistically, I do feel that it should be either stagnant, if not a little bit higher. So possibly right above this S1. I wish I could say that it's going to go to 14, 16, 18, or even higher. But I think at that stage, in order for kind of that price action, Lucid really needs to hit their targets. And that should actually come probably in a solid maybe 2 weeks from now, possibly 3 weeks. So we're very, very close to finding out how that was, how their 2025 was. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. One final thing. If you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Stacked account. Just for this weekend only, I did lower the pricing. So if you're, again, looking for some daily day trades and whatever else, I did lower this. It was $55, lowered it down to $20. So if you get in, you will not ever kind of increase. That's the max that you will ever pay. Currently, I have 100 members, and I just launched this couple weeks back. So definitely take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. Like I said, only for this weekend only. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.